Hey guys, welcome to the channel. You saw the thumbnail, you read the title, so I'm not gonna waste any of your time, so let's get it. The equipment that you'll need to use for this tutorial are the following. Before we get into this tutorial, I want to quickly explain what is a Cuban Link chain. But some other people may know what it is, but for those who do not know, a Cuban Link chain is a type of chain that is worn by any kind of artist around the world. It is well known in the hip hop industry, worn by people such as Travis Scott, A$AP Rocky, The Migos, NBA Youngboy. Basically any kind of rapper you can think of has that type of chain or wears that type of chain. So once you've gotten that idea of the Cuban Link chain, we can then start the tutorial. Step 1, you will then need to draw a square. So for the sake of the tutorial, the length that I'll be using will be 2 centimeters or 20 millimeters. Step 2, you will then need to draw the following lines as I show in this picture right here. So in terms of the measurements, I cannot really give an exact figure of it, but what I suggest you can do is that the measurement that you use, just divide that measurement by 3. Well, in this case, I'm using 2 centimeters or 20 millimeters. So in this case, I'll then just divide 20 millimeters by 3, which will give me about 6 comma something. So in terms of that, I'll then just use that 6 comma something to then draw those exact lines to give me 3 equal parts or 3 equal rectangles in this case. Step 3 is that you'll need to draw 4 diagonal lines. So these 4 diagonal lines, I'll be using a specific tool, not the ruler. You can also use a ruler, but in this case, I'll just be using this tool because I work best with it. I'll then just show a picture right here and also the name. So this triangle or this set square is the triangle that helps me get perfect diagonal lines. So you'll then need to draw a diagonal line from this point to this point. And also on the opposite side, you'll then draw it from this point to this point. And also on the top side, you do the same thing, but just opposite. So you draw it from this point to this point, and this point to this point. You must note as well that these points, when you draw a line just downwards, they should be aligned. If they are not aligned, then you'll need to then readjust your diagonal lines to make sure that those points are in line. What you do on the left, you do on the right. So what you drew right now is considered a link. So what a link is actually what makes up a Cuban link chain. So if you actually draw 2 of them, you actually have 2 links. Then you have, if you draw 4, then you actually have 4 links. So that's what actually makes up a Cuban link chain. So the next step would be that from this side of the square or on this line, you're going to then measure 10 millimeters to the left and make a mark, and then 10 millimeters to the right and make a mark. So once you're done doing that, you're going to then draw a straight line going down. But that line that you draw from this point, it has to be then 20 millimeters long. What you do on the left, you do on the right. You're just drawing another square. So from that point, you're going to draw 20 millimeters. Also on the other point that you made, you're going to draw 20 millimeters. Once you're done doing that, you're going to then draw from that point downwards. Then you're going to finish off your square. Right now, we're going to repeat the steps that we did for the first link, but there's actually a quicker way to it. So to avoid the whole measurement things and all those other stuff, you're going to then draw 2 lines from these 2 points going right. They must meet, and they must actually meet on the side of the square. So once they meet there, you can then actually just draw the diagonal lines from that point forward, and then you actually have your second link. So another thing you can do right now is also we can then actually add 2 more or 5 more links. Then after you do that, then we can actually start with the whole shading process. So right now you should be having 2 links or more than that. So right now we're going to jump into the shading process. So in terms of the shading process, remember we're drawing a diamond prong Cuban link chain. It's diamonds, so there's not really much detailing to it except for making it look bold and just shine more. So the shining part or making it shine more is just the highlights. So that's the only things that we can do for this Cuban link chain. So again, I'm not going to really do crazy detailing as if it were like a normal chain without diamonds, but just showing you a basic shape of how it should look like with the shading. So in terms of the shading, I'll be using this pencil. I feel like I can achieve a light, medium, dark shading with it, and I'll also be using a brush and also a blending stump, which will help me in terms of the shading in this case. So right now we're going to add a light shading or a light layer around the Cuban link chain, just to then create more of an emphasis that is actually 3D. So after doing that light shading, then blend it out using a brush or using a tissue that you can use circular motion and everything just to blend it out and making it look smooth. To make the Cuban link look more bold or to stand out, we're going to then shade the edges of each link using a 2B pencil, but also being careful of the amount of pressure we use. Just use light to medium pressure. You can also use hard pressure, but just not all the time. And after doing that, we're going to then use a blending paper stump, a brush, or a piece of tissue to then blend in the shading to give it more of a finished look that's nice, neat, and just look more smooth. In terms of the open spaces that you see right here with the following arrows, you will then create a super dark shading. So right now we'll be doing the highlights, which is the diamond shining and all that stuff. So in order to do that effect, you will then use a Tombow mono eraser. If you do not have a Tombow mono eraser, you can then just use a normal eraser that has a flat edge or a sharp point. So in this case, I'll show an example. This is a flat edge and then this is a sharp point. So once you have either or of those tools or the equipment, you'll then just draw a straight line from this point towards that light layer that we created. Then after that, you'll then see the following as I show in the video. So how I create variety in my highlights is that I just create small, medium, large stars or straight lines, basically, just to represent the reflections and the shine of the diamonds, or the sparkles of the diamonds. So this is what I do. I just take a star. I don't literally take a star and draw a star on each link. No, I just take a star and I just turn it into straight lines. So this is what I mean. From this, I make it look like that. So I just take that whole star and then I just then go to each link, see where I can add it, and all that stuff. But I don't want to do too much with it because it'll look the same and it'll create variety. So with that same star, I can then make it look small, make it look medium, make it look large, and all that stuff. But just create variety with the highlights. To emphasize the highlights that you created earlier on with the eraser, you can then use a charcoal pencil or Tippix basically, or correction marker, just to then go over those highlights that you made and just create a super light or super wide highlight effect. With Tippix, you can then just go around the Cuban Link, then just add little dots around it. But you can't add those dots around the Cuban Link, but actually inside each link. So just remember again, don't make too much or too many dots because it will look ugly a little bit. But that's what I can also suggest. It's optional. And you've reached the end of the tutorial. Now you know how to draw a Cuban link chain or necklace. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you share this video with your friends and show everyone out there what you learned today. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Comment down below, shine to confuse others, and let me know what tutorial you want to see next. I'll catch you next time. We're gone.